Hey, come see us on tour. We're going to be in Los Angeles, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Lexington, Kentucky, Burbank, California, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. So I don't know if you heard this story. Kamala Harris very famously wanted to put the parents of kids who were truant in jail. And who are those kids? Poor kids and poor parents. And so she put somebody in jail whose kid had sickle cell anemia and was in the hospital.
And had an excuse, right? They were allowed to be out. So
her name is Cheree Peoples, and her daughter has sickle cell anemia. Well, here, I'll show. Here we go. To this day, Kamala has never apologized for causing the single mom and her daughter to become homeless while Shayla suffered from a stroke. Her daughter. So this woman has sickle cell. Her daughter has sickle cell anemia, so she couldn't go to school. Kamala Harris put her in jail when her kid's in the hospital. And to this day, she hasn't apologized for it. Her daughter is permanently disabled. Please watch this entire video so you can understand how this family struggled. Here we go. I want to watch it. Let's. Here we go.
My message to all Americans, especially Black Americans, do not trust Kamala Harris.
I'm so proud of you right now, because you walked all the way down here and I wasn't expecting you to walk.
My daughter, Shayla, suffers from sickle cell anemia, a chronic, painful genetic disease.
As a prosecutor and law enforcement, I have a huge stick.
It's a very sharp stabbing pain, and it hurts a whole lot. Like from my chest all the way down, it hurts, including my side.
So I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy.
When Kamala Harris was the California Attorney General, she had me arrested and prosecuted because my handicapped daughter was sick in the hospital and had missed some days of school.
I spent a majority of my time here at the hospital.
Kamala's horrible policies hurt mothers like me and the Black community. My name is Cheree Peoples, and this is my story. I am a single mother. I've worked as a certified nursing assistant and a caregiver. My daughter Shayla was born in 2002. When she was born, she was diagnosed with sickle cell anemia, and it affects all major organs in the body and also causes extreme pain. Her whole life, she has been on medications like morphine and Dilaudid to help her control the pain. In addition, she had to undergo blood transfusions every 3 weeks. My lifestyle became taking care of her almost full time. It is pretty typical for kids with Shayla disability to miss a lot of school.
I just got out of school. I've done 3 full days this week. Oh, I'm so tired.
And for years, the teachers were aware of her condition and her absences were all excused. California schools get their state and federal funding based off of average daily attendance. Schools are paid about $30 per student per day.
In San Francisco, we threatened the parents of truants with prosecution.
I first heard of Kamala Harris when she got elected California Attorney General.
We are putting parents on notice. We are going to make sure that you face the full force and consequences of the law.
She wrote a report saying truancy was costing California schools $1.4 billion a year in funding.
Because of truancy, California public schools lose $1.4 billion a year in funding. I want money.
What?
Kamala then wrote a law making it criminal for parents.
Why would they cut off funding to a school because of truancy?
So you get paid per student in the classroom. That's how it
What a great system we have.
Yeah, it's a backward system. Okay.
If their kids miss school time. Kamala even wrote a book called Smart on Crime.
You can read an excerpt from the book that she just plugged shamelessly. It's called Smart on Crime.
Talking about arresting parents for truancy.
I sent a letter on my letterhead out to every parent in the public school system.
In 2012, like all California parents, I received a threatening letter from Kamala Harris saying we'll go to jail for a year if our kids even miss 10% of school days. It was like a crazy intimidation tactic.
I'm going to start prosecuting parents for truancy.
I thought, wow, this woman doesn't have any empathy. Is it because she's not a mother? I also thought, how could she not understand it will disproportionately affect people of color, single Black mothers? But honestly, I didn't imagine it could affect me. Her teachers had her medical records from the Children's Hospital. I even had a 504 plan, which was an agreement between the school district and the parents to provide care for students with disabilities. It was April 18th, 2013, in the morning. I'm in my pajamas. I had just fed my daughter, gave her medications, sent her off to school. Little did I know, there was a warrant out for my arrest. All of a sudden, the police is outside my house, and they started banging on the door. I opened up my door, and 2 officers entered my home. They told me I was under arrest for my child missing school. They said I was going to jail. I was shocked. I said, but my baby is sick. The school knows that. And they said, go talk to Kamala Harris. Place your hands behind your back.
My mom did nothing wrong. We did everything we were supposed to. I was always bringing doctor's notes, always calling the school to let them know that I was in the hospital.
Then they handcuff me. So they take me outside for what you call a perp walk. And oh my God, the TV news was there. The newspapers were there. You could swear I had killed somebody. It was degrading and humiliating. I was taken to the Criminal Justice Center. They took my mugshot. I was fingerprinted like a criminal, and I was terrified.
And it felt like I caused her so much pain because in reality, it is because of me, even though I know it's not directly my fault. Sorry.
The next day, the Orange County Register showed the pictures of my arrest. They even had a close-up picture of my hands in handcuffs to show here's a Black mother being arrested.
It was a truancy rate at over 2.5 times that of white students.
Everyone knew most truant kids were Black. I think Kamala Harris wanted me as an example to threaten other single Black mothers, like, this can happen to you if you don't get your kids in class. The police even put out a press release naming me and other Black single mothers like Toya Daniels who got arrested the same day. But my hell was just beginning. They gave me 2 charges: failure to supervise and encourage school attendance and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. I couldn't believe it. They framed my daughter as a gang member and basically charged me with neglect. I spent the next 2 years in court fighting these charges. Kamala assigned her nastiest prosecutors to my case.
My homicide prosecutors, my gang prosecutors. And they went over there and I said, when you go over there, look really mean.
Like 10 different prosecutors. They kept pressuring me to plead guilty and spend a year in jail. But I kept refusing because I did nothing wrong. All the time I had to spend going to court, I was struggling to care for my Shayla. I lost my job and couldn't pay rent, and we got evicted. I became homeless. We had to move into a motel.
And I ended up being in the hospital a lot during her trial. And in that hospital stay was when I had my stroke.
I had a stroke about 4 or 5 days ago, and right now I'm doing pretty good. My hand is doing okay, I guess.
In 2015, after 2 years, they finally just gave up and dismissed my case. In 2018, the Supreme Court of California ruled that truancy cannot be punished by incarceration. It was unconstitutional. The courts finally stopped Kamala Harris' abuses. When I look back, I ask, why did Kamala Harris arrest me? Why was Kamala Harris so insensitive to a Black woman with a handicapped child? Well, first, I learned that Kamala Harris has no common experience with Black people. She grew up with an Indian mother. I remember she kept saying she was Indian.
To become the first Indian senator in U.S. history, which would be quite an accomplishment.
Not good.
What we're going to cook today is an Indian recipe.
Yes.
Because you are,
And I learned she grew up in Canada.
That actress that she's with, I can't remember her name, from The Office.
Mindy
Kaling. You know her brother is famous. Her Indian brother is famous for faking that he was Black to get a Black scholarship to med school.
No.
Yeah.
That woman?
Her brother. Her brother shaved his head and pretended he was Black so he could get into med school. That's a famous story. So it's like a real exchange program. Kamala's pretending she's Black now.
Wow.
We're going to cook today is an Indian recipe.
Yes.
Because you are,
And I learned she grew up in Canada, not in the United States, and went to a wealthy high school. I think in Canada, she must not have been exposed to American values, which respects the rights of individuals. When Kamala Harris ran for president in 2019, they asked her about arresting people like me, and she just lied her ass off.
The truancy program got a lot of criticism too. Did you actually lock anybody up?
No, we never locked anybody up. We never sent a parent to jail. And no parent went to jail. And we did prosecute some cases, but far few, only about 20.
It's ironic because Kamala helped raise money to bail out murderers, rioters, and thieves. But she thought I belonged in jail because I had a handicapped child.
To this day, at 22 years old, I suffer from full paralysis on my right arm and partial in my right leg.
Kamala Harris owes me an apology and my daughter an apology for what she did to us.
So do you think that she'll ever be asked about that in an interview? No. Charlemagne the God didn't know anything about it. He let her skate. Do you think
it's easy to suppress things?
They never brought that up on any of the debates?
He didn't know. Why would you take the time to? There's all kinds of stuff nobody knows. I find out when I tell people, and they go, "What? That can't be real."
And then and these, Thomas Frank talked about this in Listen Liberal. He talked about the sanctimony and the virtue signaling and the superior morality that they project, the liberal class. And he said it is stomach churning. And that's what I find in my ex-friend Vance from comedy, and it's just stomach churning. They're stupid on purpose. They believe what they hear from the TV, and they champion people like Kamala Harris like it makes them a better person. And they're horrible people. These people are in effect horrible people.
Yeah, they're the lowest shit that ever lived. Mindy Kaling, you're Indian, right? I promise you, people that know her and her are pretending she's black right now. And by the way, I don't really give a shit either way. Here's what makes her unfit on the face of it. She grew up in Canada. What that woman said is dead right.
That's right.
I don't want anybody who grew up in Canada being the president of the United States. But that's why she didn't bring up the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, when she was talking about Trump's a danger. And by the way, that bullshit she was talking about where Trump said terminate the Constitution, that entirely related to the 2020 election where he said it was a fraud. And that's what they're talking about. So you're not supposed to care about this woman and her daughter who's paralyzed. You're supposed to give a fuck about the 2020 election with Larry Clown-haired David and the gang.
So imagine if Trump had done that to a black mother. You would never hear the end of it, and people would use that as a reason why Trump's a horrible person.
Well, here's the good news.
You don't even get to hear about this story. They don't even talk about this story. You have to come to a Rumble and a podcaster to hear this story.
Yeah, you don't live in China. You live in America, the free country that with democracy. That's why you're not allowed to openly tell the truth on all the platforms. Because it's a private business and they can do whatever they want. Except Elon Musk. He should go to jail for letting you tell this story.
Hey, come see us on tour. We're going to be in Los Angeles, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Lexington, Kentucky, Burbank, California, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.